Welcome to season 2, for Pete's sake.
Welcome back, boys. It's been a great vacation.
I'm Pete, joined alongside Ryan Gibbons.
I'm Gibby.
And as always, producer Trev over here.
Of course, we're now in color.
With football right around the corner, guys, we're going to provide a little college football preview today, most notably about Michigan and Michigan State, as well as overall predictions. We're also going to have a discussion about changes we would like to see in U.S. sports today. But first, the biggest news of last night was Andrew Luck's shocking retirement. Rye guy, your thoughts?
You know, I was gonna say it feels good to be back on the podcast, boys. And unfortunately, Andrew Luck won't be able to say the same about this upcoming football season.
Nice.
There it is.
Well, Andrew Luck had a shocking retirement last night. I think he played 7 or 8 seasons in the NFL. One of the top teams in the league the Colts were supposed to be this year.
Yeah, no, I was watching the Miami-Florida game last night, and I was just scrolling on my phone looking at Twitter, and I saw that Adam Schefter tweeted that Andrew Luck's retiring, and I thought it was like one of those fake Twitter accounts that like a bunch of people retweet because they think it's like real news.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out it was actually real.
Yeah, he said, I think this morning, that a bunch of GMs texted him not believing that it was true. Like, oh no, that story's not real. There's no way he's actually retiring from the NFL, but he did.
Yeah, it just came right out of left field.
Well, and a lot of the questions are why he decided to retire, obviously. So I was looking at the injury history that he's had since he came into the league. He had a sprained shoulder. I think that was either his rookie year or his second year into the league. He also had a lacerated kidney and a partially torn abdominal muscle, which sounds really painful. He said he discovered it because he was peeing in blood.
Yeah,
So,
no, I heard that too, and I've heard some of the stories just with all the injuries, everything that he's gone through these last couple of years, and it sounds like it was a really tough decision for him to make. And watching his press conference last night, you could tell there was like a lot of raw emotion there.
a couple of the other injuries he had the shoulder surgery, which caused him to miss that entire year. He's got the calf injury right now, which no one has any idea what's going on with that, whether he's going to play or whether he's going to play or not play, which you talked about last night.
Yeah, he's been struggling. Like, I know when the Colts ever need to throw like a deep pass or like a Hail Mary at the end of the game, they would bring in
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, they would bring in Brissett to throw the ball.
Another Kobe there, Trev.
Of course, even if it's a Jacoby.
Apparently, he's supposed to be good.
Yeah, he backed up Tom Brady for a couple of years.
Yeah, I've already picked him up on my fantasy team, so I got faith.
Tough for fantasy football owners there. Not just for Andrew Luck owners, but T.Y. Hilton owners, Eric Ebron, any kind of receiver on the Colts.
Any Colt, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I invested way too much in Indianapolis this year, so it's not looking good for me to start off with, but should be getting back there.
As bad as I feel for Andrew Luck, you got to feel for O.J. Simpson, who drafted him in his fantasy league just minutes before Andrew Luck announced his retirement.
I mean,
Yeah.
This is probably the only time I've ever felt like somewhat sorry for OJ, mainly because I was in the same boat, but
Yeah, there might have been a little karma there, I guess. But O.J. took to Twitter to share his disgust, and he threw a video on there of him addressing the situation. And a lot of the replies had to do with
OJ killed 2 people. Do we just not care? With OJ Simpson, I always just saw him as the dude that killed people that just got off the hook.
and a couple white Bronco references too.
That was the karma that he picked Andrew Luck, who's not going to play. Man, that's tough.
this is why I love Twitter exactly. Like, OJ Simpson just completely unaware of all the puns that are come out of this.
Yeah, honestly, like I think having OJ on Twitter is one of the best things to happen to the internet. He just posts videos of him like at the golf course or at the bar with these sports takes, and then he gets destroyed in the comments.
Does he have a podcast?
He should.
I feel like he would have one.
I mean, everyone has a podcast these days. Even we do. So,
What do you think about the fans booing Andrew Luck as he walked out the field? Because they found out about it. What happened was it was supposed to be released on Sunday, but it got leaked last night. And he was still on the sideline. He wasn't playing, but he's on the
Like
sideline.
during the game. Yeah,
during the
that's
game.
so bizarre.
So the fans in the stadium found out that he was going to be leaving. So it's a little awkward out there. And then as he left the stadium, they booed him, which he said he heard, and it hurt him a lot, which I can understand why.
It sounded bad. And I think there was a lot of raw emotion there, but there's really like 2 sides to that story. Obviously, the leak came out, and I don't think that's the way Luck intended for that to happen.
Like you said, there's a lot of raw emotion there. I understand fans being upset right when it happened because it was so unexpected. At the same time, do you really want that to be the last thing Andrew Luck
The
hears.
last time he's ever going to be on a football field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think they were necessarily booing Andrew Luck's decision. I think they were booing the timing of it more than anything. This is, a week before the season starts, and now they're having to switch their focus to a different quarterback.
Yeah, you're spot on there.
I mean,
I understand. Just the optics overall were not great because he was walking off.
Who knows what was like going on behind the scenes too? Like, was this a decision that was talked about before? Or was this like just right now before the season's about to start? Because he did leave him with no time to find a adequate replacement.
He said he started thinking about it 3 weeks ago, or seriously thinking about it, and then he said the last week or last game, I think it was week 2 of the preseason, he kind of decided that was what he was going to do. I know he told the Colts a couple days ago, but they decided to do the press conference on Sunday, which in today's age, when there's so much social media and so much reporting and
Things
leaks,
just get out there.
there's no way that, if they came to this decision on Monday, they could have waited an entire week for his press conference to come out.
the thing is, I think the reception would have been much more accepting had Andrew Luck not been a quarterback. It's just such a vital position for a team that really, like, say it had been T.Y. Hilton that had decided to retire for similar reasons. They could have found maybe someone not at the same talent level, but like an adequate replacement that could have brought them similar production. But losing a quarterback of his caliber really throws a wrench into the team.
Well, that's the thing that people were talking about afterwards. They're comparing it to Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, no Jim Brown, but we never got to see Jim Brown play. But they all had shocking early retirements as well. But those are positions where he got hit all the time. I know we talked about Andrew Luck's injuries before too, but like you said, it's the quarterback position, which is different than a running back or wide receiver that you'd
like
expect.
a lot of these times, the quarterbacks, you still got Brady playing into his 40s. Like, these guys are playing into like their mid 30s, even later than that. Like, Andrew Luck, from a quarterback aspect, was entering, like, he was in the prime of his career.
Well, this made me think about the 2 running backs that are holding out, and Melvin Gordon, Ezekiel Elliott, because they want those long-term contracts with a lot of guaranteed money. It just made me think about, the lifespan of a career in the NFL. This is obviously a quarterback, but for running backs, they're so short. And this is why they want to get paid a lot of money when they're still younger and aren't used as much. Like I said, you saw Andrew Luck retire from all those injuries. If, running backs get those 5 years into it, they don't have any more value anymore for NFL teams.
Yeah, they have a really short career. So, you might as well, you're going to have to make your money while you can, while you're in the prime, while you're in the peak of your career.
Yeah, no, the shelf life on running backs these days is really, 3 or 4 years in your prime, and it's normally right after you come out of college too.
Exactly.
So that last year of your prime theoretically is when most of these guys are hitting free agency for the first time.
And yeah, you bring up like Zeke and Melvin Gordon, those guys are definitely worth more money than they're
the
playing
rookie
for
deal.
right now.
No, and as much as fans want to say it's all about the team, these guys got to look out for themselves and get the money while they can, like you guys have said.
Yeah, I think, you've brought up some names like Sanders, Calvin Johnson, some guys who've retired earlier, and I think that's a trend in the NFL that we're going to start seeing.
Well, yeah, especially with all the stuff on like brain injuries out there. There's no reason to really keep going once you've gotten what you think you want out of the game.
Well, I know Andrew Luck said he's just the past 4 years have been, getting injured, rehabbing. He said he just kind of thought life was passing him by a little bit. I know he said he got married. He wants to see the world, do all sorts of other things. Probably doesn't want to just be in pain every single year. He said as soon as he thought that he was losing, the love of the game that they kind of think about, at that point you're kind of like, well, why am I still doing this? And again, though, it's shocking because he's getting paid so much money and is one of the biggest names.
He gave up over like $60 million, I think, in order to retire. But it's one of those things where it's like all the mental things going on, as well with like the physical things going on with your body. He obviously just couldn't do it, didn't want to do it again.
I think I read something where it said Indianapolis was going to honor the rest of his contract, though.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, wow.
So, theoretically, most
For
owners...
like a guaranteed money, yeah, that makes sense.
If you're in that position, most owners aren't going to do that because of the cap implications, but for him it worked out in that case.
Well, I thought the timing was interesting, like you brought up earlier, and made me think of, the rankings going into the season, because like I said, the Colts were projected to be, definitely a playoff team, if not, top 5, top 10 team in the NFL. They don't have Andrew Luck anymore. Do you think Jacoby Brissett can, continue that success for them? I don't think they might not even win the division anymore. Then you got Houston, Jacksonville in that division, Tennessee.
Houston's the clear standout as the favorite in that division now for me. Jacksonville, I just don't trust their quarterback situation.
Nick Foles.
I mean, he did win a Super Bowl a few years ago, but he hasn't proven consistently in the regular season that he can do it.
Tricky Nicky.
That's what they call him. And then Tennessee's just Tennessee. They'll be 6-10, probably thereabouts.
The only 10 I see.
Right, you're gonna have to stop.
Yeah. You know you're on camera now when
Yeah.
you say that.
Well, I think we've covered the Andrew Luck news conference. Again, very sad, very
I
shocking.
just wanted to throw in one more thing before we close out this topic, and
Go for it, bud.
it was the latest tweet from the General Luck Twitter account. I'm not sure if people are familiar with this, but
One of the best follows.
it's a great Twitter account. They don't tweet that much, but they kind of reference Andrew Luck and games or things he has going on, and kind of like a civil war, like he's writing home to his mother. So this is the last tweet from the account.
Clear the voice, clear the throat.
Dearest mother, the quill has never felt more heavy. I have made the decision to holster my sidearm permanently. I shall battle no more. The decision is difficult, but as the hogs taught me, I must be true to myself. I'm coming home to care for you and the farm. Signed, Andrew.
Emotional, just like the press conference.
I think that sums it up best.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a direct descendant of Abraham Lincoln, so I'd expect nothing less.
He's got
The
the beard
beard.
for it.
Yeah, for
Best
sure.
beard for quarterbacks in the NFL. There's only one I can think. Like the neck beard too. It goes all the way down.
Fitzpatrick?
Fitzpatrick.
I think you got to throw
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick
Yeah,
in there.
doesn't he have like the lumberjack thing
he was
going?
Yeah.
he was lowering the shoulder
Yeah.
in some of these preseason games.
I know Angelo's got a bald spot on top too. I saw
Yeah,
that.
it's
So it looks like he would be in that. You know.
the Rogaine commercial.
Yeah.
It's probably what he's going to be
man.
doing now.
We can't make fun of him yet.
Well, what we were mainly going to talk about today, before the Andrew Luck news, was college football. You know, first game was last night. Florida beating
Man,
Miami.
that was honestly that was a great game just to even watch.
Didn't watch it.
It was a great game in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, they
that
kept turning the ball over, and it was messy. A lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers.
It was mistake after mistake, but as a neutral, it was just fun to watch.
The turnover chain is back. What's up with like all the jewelry that Miami has? They got the turnover chain, and then when someone catches a touchdown pass, they got like rings and stuff they put on.
I mean, it's one thing to do that if you're Alabama, but with all respect,
they didn't even win the game. Like
you're Miami. You haven't been a relevant program in like 20 years.
I liked it. I would love to see the Lions doing
I
that.
thought it was hilarious.
It looked
Yeah.
dumb on the Lions, but still.
I mean, both those teams are good. Miami, they're in the ACC, right?
Yeah, and the ACC, really, other than Clemson, is really weak. So
There's two teams, yeah.
this loss shouldn't hurt their chances for that division. Florida is a sneaky team. They could be like a second team that comes out of the SEC.
It's just like honestly, it's just good to have football back. It was a great game, but
No, for sure. Especially college. There's just nothing like it.
yeah, even better than college football being back is college football camera angles are back again, and like nothing beats the goalpost, like the camera in the goalpost when someone's like reaching for the pylon or
The pylon cam.
the pylon cam, yeah. And then there's like the first down marker too, when like someone's fighting for extra yards to get to the first down.
See, like the cameras in the game.
They get me going. Like the kickoff when like the sky cam flies over the kickoff, like it's just like football's back.
Didn't that originate in college too? Like I know the NFL has since adopted it, but
Yeah, no, it's just like all these angles. I didn't realize like how much I missed it until I was watching it last night.
for sure.
Gotta be honest, I haven't noticed that yet. So
I'm ready for some of the Big Ten games this week.
No, I gotta say the specific program we've really missed has been Michigan State football. for
Yeah.
all of us.
we'll do a little preview of Michigan State here for us today.
Now, just to get our biases out of the way for those who don't know, everyone sitting here is a Michigan State alumni.
Go green!
Go Green.
Go white, baby.
So just take that in mind as we give our predictions here, but we'll try and be as unbiased as we can.
Yeah, I mean, I will say starting right off the bat that our season was terrible last year. We were piss poor.
No.
It was the worst MSU, at least from an offensive
Piss
standpoint.
It was.
It couldn't even watch it.
No, even the year we were 3-9, which I think was 2016, we had more of an offense to at least keep us in games.
Just like sitting through those games was one of the worst things I ever put myself through.
Also, we completely wasted a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
I know.
So.
I mean, one of the positive things is we have a lot of those guys on defense coming back this year.
Always have a good defense from Michigan State. The Spartan Dogs back there.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. We got Joe Bocci, Josiah Scott's back,
Wilkins.
Kenny Wilkins,
Willicks.
Raquan Williams.
No, our defense should
Our
be.
defensive line is crazy. Honestly, there's no weak link in our entire defense.
No, we should probably be the best defense in the Big Ten.
Penn State
Again.
has a really good defense too, but yeah, I mean,
Right up there with them, at least.
us and Penn State are top 5 in the country, like no doubt about it.
But again, without a doubt, our offense is the big question mark. It'll be interesting to see how Lewerke does this year. He really didn't look the same after he got hit in the Arizona State game.
I think he was dealing with an injury all of last year, and I don't want to like blame all of last season, all the negatives, just like on his injury. He played poorly, but in 2017, it looked like that was 2 years ago. He had a really good season. And I hope we see some of that version of Lewerke this year, where he uses his legs a little more.
Well, this is his junior year, right? Or is he a senior now?
I don't know.
Either way, he's an upperclassman. I know he got named team captain for this year,
Ooh.
so he should be helping to lead the team. Like you said, also we've reshuffled sort of our offensive coaching.
Yeah, Dave Warner is not running the jet sweep anymore.
He's still in the program though, so
He's like our receivers coach. He's some offensive coach,
Yeah.
like assistant coach.
we didn't fire anyone after last year, which I thought was weird. We just sort of reorganized how.
They changed it up though. All of our coaching staff, they retained them all, but they're all on 1-year deals.
Yeah.
So I think depending on how this year goes, you're going to see some movement there. I still think that how can you demote someone from being an offensive coordinator and still having them in your program? It doesn't make sense.
Here's a question I want to pose: do you think D'Antonio's on the hot seat this year?
No.
No, I mean he won't get fired this year.
If anything, I
He's-
thought the offensive coordinator was on the hot
He
seat
should
last
be.
year.
He should be on the hot seat, but he will. He's been our best coach. We honestly like his history, at least recent history.
Yeah, for my lifetime, by far. Like I'll take him any day over John L. Smith.
John L. Smith.
But
He
Well-
doesn't have to worry about like he has job security. I mean, I don't like some of the things he's done with our coaching staff, but
that was the main reason.
He's not going anywhere.
Well, I looked through the schedule earlier. I have a little prediction of the record there.
No, let's hear it.
I don't think you're gonna like it. What do you think?
I think we're at 8,
Yeah.
9 win, maybe 10. It depends on how the offense.
I went
ultimately
8-4
turns out.
for
8
those
and 4.
exact reasons. I didn't trust the offense enough to win some of the bigger
we have
games.
a tough road schedule too.
I had us losing. Well, I had us win the first 3 games. I had us beating Tulsa, Western Michigan, and Arizona State. I had us losing at Northwestern because there's always that one game in the Big Ten, a road game that you struggle with.
Northwestern is a tough team.
They're a good team.
They
They're-
won the Big Ten West last year.
Even when they haven't been great, they've sort of been our bogey team in recent years, where they'll always play us close, even if they don't beat us.
The Big Ten is like a tough division to be dominant in. There's just a lot of. It's just like a physical conference, a slow pace of play, and all these teams can wear you out, wear you down.
No, even the bad teams, with the exception of probably Rutgers, can really wear you out physically. if they hit their
Rutgers,
game.
Maryland, Indiana, Illinois.
Yeah.
I think those are all easy wins, but outside of that, everyone else is gonna be.
The other
gonna be
teams I
tough.
had us losing to was Ohio State. At Ohio State, I think
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna win that
It's a
game.
tough one.
We really need another scenario like I think 4 years ago, where the weather was just terrible, and
We didn't do anything on offense that
Yeah.
game either.
so
Oh, that was the Geiger.
yeah, the Geiger running around. I think it was that game like 10-7 or something.
Yeah, I was at that
Yeah.
game, sitting like literally in the last row of the horseshoe.
That's a memory.
It was it was a bad one because it was raining the entire time. It was,
No,
I don't know.
they're gonna need weather like that again. This is one of the best bad weather teams in the country, I would say for sure. Mainly because it negates how your offense does. So
Also had us losing to Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah.
Both on the road.
I mean, those are toss-up games too.
So our best win of the year for you would be Penn State at home.
Yep. That's what I got.
For me, I also have us going 8-4, but I have some of the results a little different. I'm gonna say we're gonna beat Northwestern just slightly, but I also have us losing to Wisconsin.
I had us losing to Wisconsin too. But it has beaten Penn State.
Okay, what am I getting?
I'm gonna.
If they
All right,
beat
no.
Northwestern, they're
Hang on.
9-3.
Let me rework this. My math isn't good. So I have wins
These are
against
hard.
I have wins against Tulsa. Western will be a tough game because they'll be up for it, but I think we'll pull out there. We'll want revenge over Arizona State over last year, so we're gonna get that. I think we'll just about squeak past Northwestern. Indiana, technically a rivalry game. Like we play,
Yeah,
is it
the
the
Battle
old
of,
the brass spittoon?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, do they have that still, or did we
I-
win it back off
I
them?
couldn't even tell you.
I don't know. It's not really an important rivalry for either school, but I think we'll pull that one out. See our first loss of the year coming at Ohio State. That's going to be difficult.
So going undefeated into OSU.
Yeah, we're going to be 5-0 going into there. Wisconsin, close one, but I don't know if we'll be able to rebound, so I think we're going to lose. Penn State's my big unknown really in the Big Ten. This should be their year to just go for it, but I don't trust them at all. So I think we might get a win there. Illinois, probably a win. Now the big one, Paul Bunyan Trophy. Now I do think Michigan is slightly overrated coming into the year, but I would put them slightly ahead of us in terms of where their team's at right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Personally,
I mean, they got the new offensive coordinator
yeah,
from Alabama.
I don't rate Shea Patterson though as a quarterback.
See how does
That's
losing to
my-
Michigan.
See, this is a game though where your team doesn't really matter because it's all emotion.
It's true. I just had it at Michigan, so I had us losing that game.
We've done better at Michigan than at home though in recent years.
It's true. I mean,
The home team in this rivalry can't seem to handle the pressure, so I'm actually having us winning that game.
Okay, so
In
you
a
had us
close
at what,
one.
9-3 then?
Yeah. So
Alright.
no, actually 10-2. The only losses are to Ohio State and Wisconsin.
I'm gonna do you one better and say let's go 11-1. I think we have
You
our
flipping Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna say we're gonna lose. OSU, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan. Those are all tough games.
There's a loss in there somewhere.
Yeah.
For sure.
But one of the things that I do think we have going for us is a solid offensive line. We're returning a bunch of guys, and then just having healthy receivers was a huge thing that hurt us last year. We lost Davis, and then we got Stewart back this year, along with Cody White. So I think Lewerke's got some targets, and he's going to be healthy. And if we can stay healthy as a team with our defense, we'll be good to go.
Well, the next team, obviously, in the state is Michigan. We'll do this quickly because we've talked about Michigan State for a while. I had them going 9-3. I know a lot of people think they're going to do better. I had them at 9-3. Had losses at Wisconsin. I had a loss at Penn State, and I had a loss to Ohio State at the end of the year. Or, sorry, not at Penn State. I had a loss to Notre Dame. Notre Dame is on Michigan's schedule this year. So I had them losing to
I
Wisconsin.
think that's week 3. They got some tough games.
They do. They go at Wisconsin, go at Penn State, host Notre Dame, and host Ohio State. Had them going 9-3. I can see maybe a 10-2, possibly 11-1, but I think 9-3 is a safe bet right now.
Yeah, it's kind of a question mark with them. Just seeing how they have the new offensive coordinator from Alabama.
They're always going to beat up on the lesser teams. They're one of the best teams I think in the country at that. Where if they should win that game against a worse opponent, they always win that game.
That's true. And I think one of the early games on their schedule, I think it's week 2 against Army. Army's a really good football team. They're a 10-win football team. Granted, they don't really play anyone that good, but they're returning a bunch of guys, and I think at that point you're going to be able to tell how good this Michigan football team is.
Also, this game I want to bring attention to it because I don't expect anything from the opponent against them. But if Middle Tennessee State were to somehow beat Michigan in football, just from a pure banter perspective, that would just
Oh man,
be
you had to
wild.
bring that game up again.
I did, unfortunately. But for me personally, I do see Michigan going 9-3 with one different loss than you have. I think they will lose to Michigan State, but they're going to beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame to me is the most overrated program in college football, by far, no question.
But you have them going 10-2 then?
9-3. I have them losing to Penn State, Michigan State, and Ohio State.
Gotcha.
Thought this was their year, right? I mean, that's what they say every year.
Their year to finish fourth in the
Well,
Big Ten.
I mean, they are coming off what Jim Harbaugh described as co-Big Ten East championship season.
With Urban Meyer out of Ohio State too, that kind of opens up the door for them.
That's
So
true.
Yeah, really for Michigan, Michigan State, and Penn State, this is the year to go for it. Because it's Ohio State
It's
in
really
transition.
bunched up at the top. There's a lot of teams that could make a run. A lot of dark horses.
And then we were talking about earlier the college football playoff overall predictions. We know Alabama and Clemson gonna be
Yeah.
at least in the
Yeah,
conversation. You can almost
100%.
lock them in.
even if they have a shock loss throughout the year, it's hard to see them not being in the Final Four.
So the other two teams we threw out maybe Georgia, Ohio State, and the winner from the Big Ten, essentially.
If Ohio State runs the table, especially, I don't see how they miss out.
We were just saying we'd love to see Oregon in there with that really good QB they got, Justin Herbert. Pretty good team they have.
He said he was going pulling a LeBron and going 0 dark 30 and just not going on social media at all this year.
We'd love to see, especially for the Pac-12 being represented out there as well. So, you know, Oklahoma's always going to be good too with Jalen Hurts now as the QB. Probably win the Heisman because that's all they do there at Oklahoma.
The sad thing is, really, who gets in depends on the total like conference records for like the interconference games. Like, say Oregon could run the table, but if the Pac-12 does terrible against like the Big 10 or the Big 12 and whatever games
I just want to see what jerseys they'd wear in the championship.
Oh, I totally agree. But the factors of who makes it into the playoff doesn't necessarily come down to the team itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like, I think
that's true. I think that's one problem with the Big Ten. All the Big Ten teams are going to knock each other off, and it's going to be hard for one of those teams to
Very good
make it into
conference,
the
yeah.
playoff.
Are there any big out-of-conference games for the Big Ten teams this year? I mean, I know Michigan plays Notre Dame, but that was the only one that
Michigan State's biggest I know is
Arizona State.
Yeah.
Which they were a good Pac-12 team last year. I think they were at the back end of the top 25 then last year, I want to say.
Who's that?
Arizona State.
Yeah, no. Who's their coach again?
Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards. Yeah, they were flirting with the top 25.
Doesn't look like Ohio State plays anyone tough out of schedule.
Yeah.
I want to see how their new quarterback or Justin Fields, right? The transfer.
Yeah, he's good. He's the number one QB out of high school. Was it last year? Was at Georgia, and
The
then
transferred.
he's behind Jake Fromm, very good Georgia QB. So yeah, he transferred over to Ohio State.
Yeah, I know a lot of people compare him to like Russell Wilson, where he's like a dual threat kind of quarterback.
Those are the comparisons are so stupid when they're like
especially
19 years
when they
old.
haven't played a game of college football yet.
Exactly.
But I'm excited to watch OSU, see how he does, and then excited to see how Patterson does too this year. And Harbaugh said that Dylan McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's brother, is gonna be he's gonna be in their offense. He's currently like their backup quarterback, but they said they're gonna
They'll mix him
kind
in
of
there.
use him.
Honestly, I prefer him to Patterson from a pure quarterbacking perspective. Like, I think you put him in there, they're probably all those games that I thought they would lose. They're much closer games with McCaffrey over Patterson.
Yeah, I mean, I know that some people are saying McCaffrey is a better athlete and whatnot, but Patterson's getting a lot of praise too, where he's kind of even getting his name into a possible dark horse Heisman candidate. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Of course.
Well, moving on to our final segment here. We wanted to introduce a new segment this week, and that's the conversation starter. Bring up a question that we're going to have a little debate about. The question this week, Trev, you proposed was one thing you could change today in big U.S. sports.
Yes.
So that's NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA. You talked a little MLS. We'll mix in a little Premier
MLS.
League.
I also got some
Yeah.
NHL and NASCAR too. Some stuff I want to talk about. What I would change.
So let's kick it off with the NHL. The NFL.
Well, we can start with hockey if you want.
No. So
Okay.
let's kick it off with the
Good answer.
NFL. The obvious one is less preseason games. 4
Yeah.
just seems like way too many. At the
Dragging it out.
max, it should be 3, if not 2. Players get hurt in it all the time. We've already been
Saw
seeing
it
this.
this week.
And 4 is just way too many, in my opinion. I know coaches will say, oh, well, you need more time to evaluate the players. You have all training camp, you have all off season. 3 preseason games at the maximum should be fine for you.
Yeah. The only problem with that is you're missing like the home and home trade off. Like there's going to be more
Yeah.
home games, so there's going to be like a revenue problem there. But I really feel like the only reason preseason games are relevant is just for these borderline guys trying to make the roster on like special teams or
Yeah.
as a backup position, and that's like the only point of them.
And not trying to downgrade them. I was just saying through training camp and at least 3 games,
no,
you should
it's-
know.
Yeah. It's like I don't even know who these quarterbacks are playing on. They're not going to be on an NFL roster. Like what's the point of this? It's meaningless to some extent.
My NFL change is a little bit less realistic, but I actually think this would help with injuries because it would change the way people hit each other. I would take all the pads off, helmets, everything.
Make it rugby.
basically.
It's a little outside the box.
A little bit. Well, not obviously in the way the game is played, but just you're not going to lead with your head if there's nothing to protect you there.
Man, Antonio Brown is ready for that sport.
Literally, this is the Antonio Brown rule right here. Nope.
Also, Andrew Luck looks like he played that sport, doesn't he? He looks like the QB that would play
He
that kind
does.
of.
Honestly,
He's a bigger guy. He's kind of chunky.
Yeah, just the way he looks.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just shows up in like a rugby league somewhere.
Love to see it. Nice
That's why he
guy.
retired.
Yeah.
For my rule, I think it was the XFL or the football league that was going on earlier this year. I think
coming
like
back, yeah.
February or March
That
or
was
something
the
like that. Oh yeah, it was the AFL. There's so many of them, I can't even keep them straight.
XFL is next year.
That's the one that's supposed to make it, but regardless, they had some cool features where they were like miking up referees, and the refs would then explain why they made a call,
Yeah.
or why they didn't make a call. I thought that was really cool, and I would like to see that in the NFL.
That's something that would be useful in every stick and ball sport,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Oh, exactly. Just hearing
Stick
the
and ball
reasoning
sport.
behind something. Like sometimes it's just clueless, especially in situations like the Saints had, where they were potentially robbed of a Super Bowl appearance. Like,
Yeah.
there needs to be some explanation there.
No, of course.
And then I have another change, just like limiting commercials. It's the worst thing ever when a team scores, there's a commercial. They kick an extra point, there's a commercial, and then they kick off and there's
Another
another
commercial.
commercial.
I agree. It's just the whole revenue thing. Like you talk
Yeah.
about with preseason games, how do you actually eliminate?
It's just like a 10-minute ordeal. It's like I just want to see more
Well,
football.
here's a question I have for you with that, because that would likely mean that a lot of games would go to like a subscription model, to where you're paying like a certain amount to watch NFL games per season. Would you be willing to say that package was like 60?
No,
to
I
like
would
100
definitely
bucks
pay
a
money
year?
to
Just for
not have that. Just give me Tony Romo and whoever talking about football.
Because they do that for the Sunday ticket. I know that would be an additional charge, but just I think it shows that people would pay to watch football.
Yeah, you want to go to baseball next?
Yeah, let's go to baseball. I think, well, one of the changes that they're already doing for safety is the extended netting, which we already talked about before. We went to the Tigers game a couple weeks ago, and that made sense. We saw them kind of bringing the netting out there. It didn't really obstruct the view, I didn't think.
Yeah, and also with just sort of the advent of the cell phone age, a lot of people are spending most of those games distracted, and
It's
just,
so boring.
I hate that. No, I hate watching a sporting event. Like, you see a guy, especially basketball, I know it's changing sport, but you see him on the sideline, like, great seats, and he's just on his phone the entire time. It's like,
Yeah,
come
you
on,
gotta
man.
let all you know.
Oh
let
my
all your friends know you have good seats.
My favorite thing with baseball there, I forget how long ago this was, but it was at an Arizona Diamondbacks game, and the cameraman cut to a group of what was very clearly like some sorority from an Arizona school, had like an entire section like bought out, and they were all on their phones and like taking selfies,
Yeah,
and
you
no one
gotta-
was looking at the game.
Gotta get the little internet clout.
Just
Oh,
to show
of course.
people you were there. The other ones I put were fewer shifts, which, again, that's hard to
Not a
actually...
fan of the shifts.
I just think it's boring. I just
Yeah.
I don't like watching as much. And the other one is fewer pitching changes, which again, I don't know how you actually put that into the game, but I hate when you see a guy come out, pitch to one batter and let's switch it for the next guy.
It's like just an old person game.
It's so
there's a lot
slow.
of tradition and ritual in it.
Like say, so you want someone to come out for an inning and say they have to face a certain number of batters unless they get injured or something.
Exactly. Instead of, coming out, throwing 4 pitches, then switching it up again. I just think it takes too much time, especially in the postseason.
It
which
changes the strategy
They
too.
really need to speed up the game though, because I think they are losing.
Well, they're trying to
portion
do
of their
that.
fan
They got the pitch clock implemented in already to try and lower the time between pitches, which it's still slow, but it's definitely better than it was.
You guys, any changes on there?
Honestly, I really got nothing. The MLB is slowly dying.
I said shorten the length of the ballparks, so you create more scoring because
yeah.
theoretically more people can hit home runs.
Juice the balls.
That's exactly what I threw down. I said allow players to juice. Solves all your problems. Makes
Yeah.
the game more exciting.
Plus,
It's fun to watch.
I know this is a bit artificial, but that opens up the can of worms of people chasing like the home run record for say, which is like obviously it's not the main game, but it's something for people to keep track of and keep tuning into the sport. If
Oh, yeah.
somebody like Mike Trout got close or something.
Baseball is the biggest sport in terms of statistics.
Yeah.
That's primarily, Moneyball, obviously.
That's actually my biggest problem with the game too. Is I want to see less focus on like the advanced analytics. Those guys
I mean, it's a huge part of the game, especially nowadays.
like for me, I'm looking at how people are doing this year, and like George Springer for the Astros, for example, he's having arguably a better year than Mike Trout offensively right now. But the way the advanced analytics show everything, everything is Mike Trout, Mike Trout, Mike Trout. And it just gets a little bit like, okay, is there anyone that can be better than him if the analytics are going to just say no?
Exactly, kind of what's the point of him keeping it then?
Want to move over to basketball now?
I love
Some
to.
NBA.
The first one I had was, which again, all these are hard to implement, was the no load management or just fewer load management. Nothing is worse than going to see, Lakers versus Pistons. You're going to see LeBron James ace sitting, and it's just tough for a fan. I know it's a long season. You want to rest the players, avoid injuries, but you need something else for the fans. I'm not going there to watch, Jose Calderon take the ball. Maybe I am, but I'm not going there to see him take the ball up the court. I'm going to see LeBron play.
Yeah, and the thing is, they don't even announce those in advance. It's game day, day, the day of the game. They're scratches.
Well, my change actually would address that in an indirect way, but it would sort of prevent players from even wanting to do that. And this is the only sport I think in the U.S. where it would actually work. But get rid of the playoffs entirely. That is my hot take. Extend the season by 8 or so games, but
yo, I'm not gonna. I knew we were all throwing ideas out there, so I'm not gonna knock on it.
Let me hear you out.
He's throwing it on the board, see if it sticks.
I'm a huge soccer fan. I gotta put that out there initially, but the regular season just started for the Premier League. Even the games second or third week of the season, they have importance, and every win matters in that format. You have to push it the entire season, and your star players aren't going to want to sit out a few games because it will literally risk them winning the championship.
That's true.
You're also going to see the top of every team every week.
Yeah.
Because they know, hey, we got to just beat everybody and sort of, get it going. Also, just as a supplement, I would throw in, because we don't want to get rid of the playoff thing entirely, right? It's America. We got to have that somehow.
Always got to have a playoff.
So what I would do to sort of supplement it, there would be two competitions in an NBA season. The regular season, which would be the new NBA championship, but then also have something similar to the FA Cup in soccer, where every team is in a tournament at some point, and that becomes its own new competition, and then the winner of that would be just as prestigious as the regular season one.
It's out there, and it's never gonna happen.
No, this is never going to happen. But
I'll say it's an interesting approach. I wouldn't mind seeing the NBA switch up some of this.
I would like to see it tried at least.
The season's too long.
Well,
yeah.
I don't think the playoff thing will change, but the in-season tournament, that's something they've actually discussed. So I don't think you're far off in terms of how the commissioner is thinking.
Yeah, and invite all the teams. So even say you're supporting Memphis right now, which is one of the worst teams in the league. You go on a few game run. Hey, you might come away with some silverware for your season.
And if you make it just a single game.
Single elimination.
Yeah, anything can happen in one game, and that's one thing that these 7-game series in the NBA, the better team is always going to win that.
Mm-hmm.
But for my change, I think we need to mic up the players in the NBA.
So it's just all your changes miking up
just
people.
Mic everyone up, throw it on the broadcast. I know there's so much shit talking in the NBA.
I'd love to hear it.
Am I allowed to say that? But
yeah.
I know that there's just a whole nother layer to the league that's going on the court between players, and I just want to see what's happening.
Well, even if it's not on the main broadcast, you could throw the player commentary on the NBA Network or something if it's a big game.
Yeah, no, that would just be incredible. I want to hear everything.
Oh, I love to watch a game with no actual play-by-play and just hearing the players talk the entire game.
You know that it's going on the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
You still pick up on some of it during a broadcast.
It'd be entertaining still. So I like that, Gibby. I love to see that.
It's gonna be someone get me on the phone with that's not David Stern anymore.
Adam Silver.
Yeah, Adam Silver.
Can we do that in college every time Dan Dockich is supposed to call a Michigan
God.
State game?
Dan Dockich was ripping on Andrew Luck on Twitter today.
I could see that.
Yeah, because he's probably from Indiana, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like he's from Indiana. Trev, you got another sport for us here?
Oh, I got 3 more, and I don't know if you guys got anything, but I'd love to see what you would think of all of these. I'm going to start with hockey because it's the most simple one, and it's kind of going back on something they've gone away from. But I want to encourage fighting. I think it's the most entertaining part of that sport. The best memories I have of the Red Wings are those brawls they had with the Avalanche in the late 90s.
Yeah, no, I've seen like retro videos of that and it just looks super like badass.
Oh no, it's just people kicking ass over like one bad hit, and I love to see it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still happens, but there's always punishments now whenever you do it. That people know the risk of
Like
fighting.
in terms of like
Yeah.
suspension or
If it gets bad enough, yeah, they will suspend people. But even within the context of the game, it's like still like a 5 minute major
yeah,
for fighting. And I don't know. I just like seeing fights. We need more fights.
keeps it interesting.
Yeah. Soccer. Now, this is MLS specific because I want to see that league grow, and I do love the sport.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, no, for real. But my big change here is actually growing the league a lot, like having a 100 to 120 team league
Oh my god.
split into conferences, sort of like college football in a way,
Okay.
where it's regionalized. I think
I don't know if we have enough players in the U.S. to support that.
Does that mean Gibby and I are on a team there?
pretty much. I mean, we definitely have enough players. I don't know if we have enough good players to do that, but
Got to bring Freddie Adu back too, right?
yeah. But I mean, I look at the passion that college football has in this country, and why is that? Well, you're always playing teams from in and around where you live. Like, you know, as Michigan State fans, we get to play the best of the Midwest, and if we go to the playoff, that's sort of like our pride in a way. Soccer sort of works in the same way in Europe, but the problem we have here is our country is just too big geographically to like do it the way they do. So having a huge top flight would allow you to split it into like a 20 team like Great Lakes division or a 20 team West Coast.
Makes sense, yeah.
It limits the travel time for players too, which a lot of Europeans that come over to America complain about once they get here. Like they're just sick of having to
Fly
go
across the country.
yeah, constantly. And I think that would help with a lot of the travel, and it would also help grow the sport naturally from the sort of grassroots area, because it's more like with more teams, you're gonna have smaller markets that get one, and you're gonna have more people wanting to get involved. And then quickly, I know you guys don't care about this, but I gotta get this off my chest. I'm a big race fan.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say esports.
No, well,
Next week.
not quite yet. But we got to talk about this charter system in NASCAR. Let me explain this to you. It's basically a buy-in system that ensures that 36 teams have a guaranteed starting spot every week in the race. It's killed the growth of the sport. No one wants to come in now because they know they have to buy into that system, but the price is just way too high. You get rid of it, you're going to start seeing the car count go back up. That's the big one for me. There's a lot of other stuff I would change too, but if anything, that's the first one.
Sounds good.
Yeah. That's all I got for the changes there.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Trev.
course.
Great insight there, Gibby. That's
Thanks,
all we had.
Pete.
That's all we had for this week, right?
Yeah, it's a big week.
Well,
Football is back.
Yeah, we'll be releasing more football-related podcasts obviously the next couple of weeks as the season heats up.
Of course, yeah. We
Can't
also
wait.
got to do our Premier League impressions too of what we've seen from the first few weeks.
We'll do that too.
But we got one more topic here, actually, really quick. We gotta get Pete on Holy Moly.
Oh yes, I saw the casting. There's a casting call for it online for Holy Moly. It's the Putt Putt Golf Show on there. I have to make a video, so you guys want to help out with that?
Of course, man. Anything, as long as you promise that once you get on, you'll come back.
I can't make any promise. I'll wear a shirt that says "For Pete's Sake." How about that?
Perfect.
On the show.
That works with me.
We gotta get a merch line going then.
It's a good idea there. So look out for that.
All right.
Well, that's all we had for this week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Pete.
I'm Gibby.
Yeah, and I'm Trev. Until next time.